Good morning, Chicago Cubs fans, and we are back with another edition of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan. Shout out to Fan Arch for presenting us here today, and we are going to catch up on the game yesterday. Cubs did drop the series finale against the Brewers. We're going to preview the Angel series, and yes, we're going to question Craig Counsell's decision-making here. I'm also going to get to some of your guys' and gals' comments. So, let's hop right into it, shall we? Cubs dropped the series finale 4-1 yesterday. 4-1. It was kind of basically one pitch that really did the trick, and that was that two-run homer that Shota allowed to Bryce Terang early on in the game. Again, Shota went 7 strong, 2 earned, 3 hits. That is quality pitching. That is good enough pitching to find success on any level, right? Especially in the postseason level is what I'm more like referring to. That is going to get the job done. The problem here is the bats. The bats went cold again. The big change in the lineup was Counsell took out Matt Shaw and Owen Casey, and I can't believe I'm saying this, he put in Kyle Tucker, who didn't really do anything. He did have some unfortunate luck in the 7th inning, though. The hardest hit ball he had all day was right at the second baseman, and it was a clean double-off opportunity to kind of just kill any momentum there in the 7th. But again, in this game, the Cubs had their opportunities to score. They just could not get the job done. And, I don't like to be so black and white about baseball because there's just so many little intricate things you can get into. But Cubs did not hit with runners in scoring positions today. Plain and simple. They had multiple opportunities to get the job done, and they just couldn't do it, which is really, really the problem. 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position and 11 men left on base. That is not going to do it and get the job done in winning anyway. So, Brewers, they came back, they got their one. Cubs did win the series, though, 3-2. They took the season series as well, so if we're somehow tied, I don't even know if it matters. They usually have the play-in game, game 163 anyway, but it was good momentum building, taking another series. Now we're going to get on the plane to Los Angeles and face the Angels. So I think the real big question here today is, what was Craig Counsell thinking? I think after you gave Kyle Tucker the Tuesday off and the Wednesday off, you might as well have just written it out. I mean, I heard comments saying, send him out to LA now, right? Just send him out to LA and, get him ready there. But I don't know the extent of what's bothering him, he's a no excuses guy. He wants to go out there and perform. It just has not panned out in any form of successful way here recently, and I'm not sure if he needs to just take the rest of August off. I mean, it's a finger injury. The stuff's not easy just to recover from, So, curious to see what plays out here, but the real big thing here for me is taking Matt Shaw out of the lineup, taking Owen Casey out of the lineup. I understand guys need rest. I'm not against guys getting a day off to get rest, but not with what Matt Shaw and Owen Casey have been doing for this ball club, okay? I would have been okay if they would give them tonight's game off against the Angels off, because I feel like we are a good enough team to take care of business in Los Angeles against them without those two guys, right? Not when this game right here decides if you're 5 games back or you're 7 games back. It's a total mentality changer, in my opinion, right? If you win today's game and you're 5 back of the Brewers, they might start sweating a bit. They might be like, 9 games isn't safe, right? 8 games wasn't safe for the Cubs. But now they're 7 back. They might breathe a little bit easier. The division's not out of the question, but it's far off in the distance, if you know what I'm saying. It's not worth thinking about right now. We can focus on what we can control, and that's winning ball games, and we will get into the wild card if we do just that. So, Counsell, again, I don't know what to truly think of him. I know he's a really, really good manager. He does play the matchups. He does do things. I think he's a little over the top with some of his decisions. There's not enough baseball gut decision making, in my opinion. It's all numbers based with him. So I'm not 100% sure what to think of him, but obviously he's a good manager. He knows what he's doing. He's really good at developing ball clubs. that shows with the Milwaukee teams the last few years. And, a lot of Brewers fans will argue that he was holding them back, which, to their argument, that might be fair. But he did a really good job with those Brewers team, too. You can't deny any of that, right? Division titles 3 of the last 4 years, or the last 4 years, or whatever. You can't deny what he has done for the Milwaukee Brewers organization. So he's warranted the contract. I'm not saying he deserves the contract. I'm just saying he put up numbers. But now we're waiting for those numbers to come back here in Chicago. So I'm not sure what he's going to do. I don't get the decision. At least let Casey or Shaw play. One of the two has to play. One of the two is just a spark plug, right? Matt Shaw, we went over the numbers yesterday. Big time impact bat in the 9-hole. And especially in a game where you get Quinn Priester out before the end of the 5th, you look at some of the stat lines, you're like, how did the Cubs lose this game? The Cubs had opportunities, okay? I'm telling you, the Cubs had opportunities, right? The Brewers, they were 1 for 2 with runners in scoring position. They left 4 people on base. The Cubs had 11. They were 0 for 8. Enough said of that series, right? That's the end of that conversation. So let's get into it. Cubs en route to Los Angeles to face the Angels. At the time of this recording, I have not seen any projectable starters yet. I'm guessing the Cubs are going to make a roster move in the here in the next few hours, and they're going to call up Javier Assad back because it's his turn to start technically, and I'm sure they'll send down whoever for whatever. I'm not sure. Probably I'm trying to think who's up there with the squad. Was it Hollowell? Did Hollowell get? No, he already went back down. So I'm sure Javier Assad's going to start here later tonight, but curious to see how that all goes. We'll have Matt Boyd going on Sunday, and I believe we will figure out who will be going tomorrow for the club. Maybe Jameson Taillon? Maybe? Who knows? But the Angels, this is a very winnable series. Let's go to Los Angeles. Let's take 2 of 3, and let's get it done. All right, so let's get to some of your guys and gals' comment. Again, appreciate all the support that we have here on the channel. Continue to share. Even if you don't agree with what I'm saying, please, kindly in the comments, share your thoughts. I'm happy to listen to everyone say some things. It's perfectly fine. I'm willing to respond to you as well, but if I don't respond to you, you might be getting featured right here on Cubs Daily, so congrats to you. So let's start off with the first one. It's our main man, Chris. He's active in the comment section, so shout out to you, Chris. He says, wondering out loud, you referenced why does this keep happening of them falling off. In an earlier video, I referenced the Cubs continuously falling off in the second half the past few seasons. Wondering on a deep dive of the players they keep bringing in or bring up. Streaky hitters versus consistency. Great start, poor finishes, etc. Begs the question, what is the organization's true philosophy? Do they really have one? Well, Chris, I think we all know the answer to that with their philosophy. They obviously just want to get good players, but, they want them to be very cost-effective to the team. They want to break even as a team. They could shut a lot of people up if they pay Kyle Tucker this summer, but I know a lot of Cubs fandom don't want to pay him like it's their money that they're spending, but they're spending $17 for a beer. I don't know, but Tom Ricketts has kind of laid out the culture for us, right? Get to the postseason and see what happens, and just see what happens, right? Like, it's a roll of the dice. Like, maybe one year the roll of the dice will be the Cubs win it. Even though when the Cubs won the World Series, they were the best team in the league by far. Dodgers, best team in the league last year. I know, I understand. You can't fall in love with the Arizona Diamondbacks story, right? They get there. The Philadelphia Phillies in 22, they got to the World Series. Do you want to get to the World Series, or do you want to win a World Series? That is the question you have to ask yourself here. I want to win a World Series. Getting to the World Series one time, and now look at the Diamondbacks. They're an absolute unmitigated disaster. They're trading everybody. They're in a little mini rebuild. It's just not good. So their philosophies need to change. I would love to do a deep dive on why this team has done it, because it's been 2 different managers too. It hasn't even been like the same regime in that full sense of from top to bottom, right? David Ross, they collapsed in 23. Council came in last year. They collapsed again. Just it's perplexing, this organization and how they operate sometimes. So good thought there, Chris. Maybe when I get some more time to myself, I can look into it a little bit further. But Andrew Torres, shout out to you, says, hopefully Shaw is Chris Bryant 2.0. Yes and no. I love Chris Bryant's game when he was healthy, when he was the MVP. Now, obviously, Chris Bryant is a one-of-a-kind story. Not many of you, probably a lot of Cubs fans know. He, in a 4-year run, this is what he did. Golden Spikes Player of the Year, Minor League Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and then MVP and World Series champion. 4 years, 4 seasons. That will never be duplicated, I don't think. That is an incredible run by an absolute stud player. And then obviously the injuries, I feel horrible for the guy. Cubs moved off of him intelligently. So I'm hoping Matt Shaw can play like Chris Bryant, but stay healthy like Matt Shaw. That's my real case there with that one. But that is a great thought on your part. And then last but not least, we have Michael Crampton came in and said the Brewers will sweep. Do I need to say anything there, Michael Crampton? I don't think the Brewers swept. I don't think the Brewers won more games against the Cubs than the Cubs did against them this year either. So, I don't know. Those are the numbers. I just go off the numbers. So, you tell me, Mike. You tell me what I'm seeing. So, that's going to do it for Cubs Daily today. Again, if you guys are enjoying the content, hit that thumbs up button. And I will see you all tomorrow in another one. Peace.